The NeuroDADverse Podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neuro-sparkly and neuro-spicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Hello there, we are back. This is the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. Welcome to the NeuroDADverse. This is the podcast where we share our challenges and wins of the week of parenting our neurodivergent children. Hi, Dan.
Welcome back, Ben. Missed you again
Thank
last week.
Yes, well, I also missed you. We were on holiday. It was half term for us. So we were able to go down to the West Country in Cornwall with my family, mother-in-law and brother-in-law and family, which was lovely. And I thought I'd get some time to slip away and just record a pod, but stuff got just kind of busy. So I didn't
Life
get
happens.
to do that. Yes, life did and does happen. It's going to be really nice to reflect on all of that this week, though. But I know I had an able deputy stepping in, and
Yeah. Amy
you and Amy had-
enjoyed the experience, so if you want to take extra long holidays again in future, just give her the heads up and she'll be happy to step in again.
well, if the podcast was about how many holidays we'd like to have, I think we could go on for hours describing them. But yeah, it's cool. It's nice. Right, where am I on my page? You've had half term, just for context for people. You've had half term as well this week, right?
Yep, today is the last day of half term, tomorrow back to school.
Yeah, same for us. Okay, cool. Do you want to kick us off with your week in 3 words?
So my joke week in 3 words would be hot, hot, hot,
Yeah.
because gosh, has it been warm. My serious parenting one will be up, down, repeat.
Oh, that sounds like it could be mine.
Oh, okay.
But I went for nature, structure, and reset. So yes, let's get into that. We normally kick off our podcast by chatting about the challenges. So why don't you tell me, trying to avoid this being a podcast of two British people talking about the weather, what your challenge of the week was, Dan?
Well, I think the interesting thing will be we both had the same weather, but we were in very different places, so with very different activities. So hopefully it won't be too much of a. But yeah, heat has been the big one. Frankie doesn't really do well in the heat. It does make him a little bit cranky, and it just ripple effects onto everything else. So at the start of half term, which me and Amy discussed last podcast, they were away for the weekend and come home on bank holiday Monday. And he had a good time, like they were playing in the pool and playing with other kids and great. Then he come back home and it was lovely that he obviously missed me and wanted to spend time with me. But pretty much most of this week we have been in just because
Okay.
we haven't had too many outs. He did spend 2 days at his club where he goes unsupervised by us, so we could catch up on life admin and work and whatever. And we went to the gym for a day, but other than that, we either hosted family or we've just been trying to chill and survive the heat. So that might factor into the fact that he's just a little bit like cranky. We were in the garden, we set the garden up every day. He loves bouncing, hence the up and down and the repeat.
Nice.
I just feel like I've spent all week bouncing in the sun, and that's not. I mean, hopefully I've lost some pounds in weight, but it's not the easiest on the
Yeah, sure.
on the upkeep of body. Like I just feel like I've just drink water every 20 minutes and just never have really felt completely hydrated this week. It's just been a scorcher. So how does the heat affect Frank? It affects his sleep, which then obviously impacts everything else. So mostly been okay going to sleep. Staying asleep has been the challenge. Whether he's had a couple of nights of melatonin just when we thought he needed the help. But most of the holidays we don't give it to him. He's been getting up at like 4, 5 a.m. not going back to bed, which by about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he is tired, but we've still got several hours to go before bed. So we just kind of got stuck in that cycle of he's always kind of tired, he's always a bit warm, and can't really communicate necessarily everything that he wants. And he's probably a bit shorter because of the heat, which doesn't obviously help. The big challenge of the last couple of days has been, because the weather's been so hot, his hair was due for a haircut. And for those that have been listening, Frankie doesn't like the sound, like low humming and rumblings. He doesn't like his hair being cut, but we have to use a razor to try and like do it quickly, because it just wouldn't do it with clippers. But his hair at the back, because I have to do it. I spend hours basically following around, just chipping away at it. And I normally end up doing the front half of his head and the back half of his head, but the back half of his head is really long. So in this heat, his face is getting hot and his ears are starting to get all sweaty and cracking, and so it's just been really challenging trying to get him to do his haircut, because of the heat, he's looking at me and I'm trying to do the little chipping away, and he's just looking at me like I don't want to do it. And to the point where this morning, I just leave it on the side and go, we'll do this in a minute. I turn it on, I try a little bit, he gets annoyed, I put it down. So it's all been elongated because of the heat. I'm just trying to not put too much on him, but it also needs to be done for his health. This morning, he actually just walked up to me, looked at me, picked up the razor and started running to the garden. And I went, I know where you're going. Had to sprint to catch him. He was going to throw it over the fence into next door's garden just to to prove the point. He really didn't want his haircut. And I was like, all right, fine, we'll stop. But now he's going to go into school tomorrow with a little bit of a sketchy haircut because it's just not quite complete enough around the sides.
That's okay.
But yeah, it's just, again, a process that's challenging has just been made even more challenging because of the heat, and trying not to upset him because you just got a shorter temper and whatever else.
Yeah,
it's just frustrating.
It's interesting. Like, obviously, you and Ames will be like, what if he continues to bounce as much as he's bouncing? His bigger, longer hair at the back is going to sweat a lot. That's going to be like uncomfortable later on. Interestingly, if you let him bounce and not thought about the haircut, it might not have bothered him. But that doesn't mean don't cut the hair, because you're just trying
it's
to
just
kind
making
of,
it worse when we do it.
Yeah, because it's longer and it takes But
so it's
you know
a little
what
bit
I mean,
on us,
though, like,
because we left the maintenance
well,
too
no,
long. But
I wasn't trying to like put it on you, but I was basically like, for Frank's sensory experience might not have been. However, you're trying to do the things that ultimately will, make it easier in the future, or less hard in the future, whatever. Yeah, that is a challenge.
it just
However,
sucks. Yeah, it just sucks. That's all. But we get through it. We'll finish it by the end of the week. Hopefully, come back to school, sort him out. Hopefully, but yeah, it's just been too hot basically for the last 2 weeks for the ICOTs, where we don't mind heat, but we like shade. And our garden isn't shady till mid-afternoon, which is generally when he's starting to unravel because he's been hot, because he's been bouncing or doing whatever else. But
yeah, of course.
But yeah, so sort of just sticky hot and trying to regulate has been the challenge of our week.
Okay.
What about you? How was the weather where you were?
Well, the same as where the weather was with you, except when
hopefully more breeze.
Yeah, on all but one day. And when we arrived, there was like this low-lying cloudy mist across this moor, and it was like super atmospheric. And everyone in the car was like, this is incredible, fantastic. Like, you're driving through these. If you've been to Cornwall, it's like the what are they called? Like the cobble? No, it's not cobblestone walls. I should have remembered what they're called. The stone walls that they make, and it's just like. Oh, so we got there like, oh, this is amazing. Couldn't really see in the place we were staying. Couldn't really see the views. It was a coastal view, and so we kind of woke up in the morning. And all that had lifted, and there was this beautiful blue sky, blue seas, and kind of
Nice.
green. Yeah, it was beautiful. And so that's where the nature comes from. Like we're kind of stranded out in nature, all really quite far down in Cornwall. It's lovely. Having said that, we went on the Saturday.
In convoy. Well, no, you had a big bus or like a big transport, right?
Yeah, we had a transport van.
Yeah.
Well, I say transport van. It was enough to fit the my mother-in-law and Laura and I and the two kids, and a dog and lots of luggage. So, and with that, the structure I was talking about was like we had to make sure we had enough time to stop for everyone's needs.
Yeah.
And so that meant the journey on the way there, plus a bit of traffic, and the journey on the way back, which was Friday, was getting on for 10 hours both times, which we accepted
Yeah.
was
Yeah, yeah.
probably going to be where we were at. It's just doing that was really challenging. Not the biggest challenge though, because then we had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days of sorted activities.
So pre-planned activities.
Well, a loose, like we'll go to
Mhm.
this area.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing paid for. Like, we'll go to this area on this day and be adaptable. My brother-in-law's got two kids also of primary school age, so that had to kind of work out what everyone's needs were. Obviously, my mother-in-law has some mobility issues we had to consider, so we kind of had an idea of doing something every day, but trying to be adaptable.
Mhm.
And on the Tuesday, it was clear that Monday had been too much. On Monday, we went to like a beach. We sat in a like beachside, like bar, restaurant, garden thing. We took some photos. We had some of us had a wander into town. We got fish and chips. Kids went in the sea. Loads of lovely stuff. But that meant the Tuesday, like Oscar found it difficult to regulate cold sea, hot, sand, different. What's happening next? Processes. When we didn't really know what was happening next, so I couldn't do when then until I'd worked that out. But there was lots of consideration about what we might do next. That's okay. Like that's normal. Like there at the beach, like it wasn't super regimented, and we didn't really want it to be. But not knowing what was happening had made Oscar just was like, I just need an inside day. Couldn't say that. Couldn't really communicate that. So I did have a bit of a meltdown. But then it was an unfamiliar environment, and the place we were staying was kind of like right on the coast, lots of cliff edges. We couldn't
Not ideal.
we couldn't really leave Oscar there safely, so we had to shift that around. So we missed out on a bit of a beach day on a lovely day. So it wasn't necessarily challenging to make that decision. Like quite quickly when we saw Oscar unraveling, it was like, okay, they need something different from us today. What can that be? When we'd made that decision, this is going to sound super horrible, but I think it's a real experience of parents of neurodivergent children when holiday plans or like the plan for your fun day might completely change. Well, just Laura and I sitting in the kind of sadness of that, really. Like other people in the house went to the beach. My brother-in-law and his wife took Mabel along with them, but we were just both sat with sadness of, oh well, or like autism and sensory needs has meant we're missing out. Now we're big grown-ups, so we can kind of deal with that. But we have got to a point where we can get Oscar to be like, I hate the word, but pretty compliant with what we're doing.
Yeah, it gets buy-in. Yeah.
Yeah, like they'll get on with it. They don't have to do all the things, and we try to explain like you can just stay in car. You don't have to come to the bit. They just wanted their safe place. So we decided pretty quickly on it. It was tough for us to both go, this is a problem. But we have to recognize that on like holidays, usually on breaks from school, we usually go one on, one off. Like a day for them to do the kids to do nothing.
Yep.
At variable accounts, maybe we'll usually do something every day, but we do plan it so that we don't do things. It's just this was like a short trip, and we wanted to try to do it. It wasn't only us in the decision-making group, if you like. So yeah, that was challenging because we also know that once there, if Oscar could have regulated, they could have enjoyed. But we got through it and we worked it out. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame to say that that's going to be something we have to consider when planning time off, like one day on, one day off in terms of activity, non-activity.
No, I can get. I can resonate with that. I suppose a little bit of what talking to Amy last week about my challenge was sports day. It was great because he partook, which was 100% better than last year. But we didn't do anything. Like, he was on the field and we did our own thing for like the hour and whatever. But yeah, I'll say the bit that I didn't mind he was doing that, but I kind of just got that because of our particular menu of things. We can't access this fun in the same way that other people do, and it can feel quite isolating. And it's more supposed to, like I say, it's more like frustrating. Like, it's not my sports day, but it would have been nice for him to see him play with his other classmates, having heard such good things about him playing with his other classmates.
Yeah, zooming out on your expectation. Like, this is my expectation. Oh, actually, if I zoom out, what is the base of what this really needs? Yeah. But we managed to go out for the other day.
I was going to say, so by having that day in, though, that allowed you to have the rest of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And
but at the time, it just sucks a little bit. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. But
so did that mean you had a bit of just you time then, just you and Laura, because Oscar was off doing what they wanted to do?
Yeah, and that was lovely, and we went for a bit of explore as well. So
nice. Okay.
Eventually, and we did actually get them out to just do a boring household shop. Like, we had to
need to eat,
buy stuff for the place we were staying in. Yeah, and they were okay. They came out with us, so that was all right.
Did they have your supermarket of choice and all the usual foods? Because obviously that's the other thing when you go away, like the safe foods. And
I mean, we were still in Great Britain, so we were able to.
I was just saying, like,
I mean, we weren't able to have the foreign supermarket experience, which I do love, genuinely. But everything's a big long drive away in that part of the country, and I do love it. So so we were able to do that. So yeah, just a little bit of like building in those rest days, and also just trying to have those needs understood by other people, which they absolutely were, because they're it's family. So so not too bad. However, you might be realizing that I started off my challenge by telling you about some really lovely things on our break, and I've got some more of those wins, and I'm sure Dan has too.
I do have wins, yes.
Lovely. Well, let's go and have a listen to that on the other side of this. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Welcome back to the NeuroDADverse, where we talk about everything neurosparkly and neurospicy about our neurodivergent children and what it's been like parenting them this week. The second half of the podcast is where Dan and I talk about our wins. We've both had a half term. I've been away in a different part of the country, down in the West Country in Cornwall, and Dan's stayed at home, largely in the garden and inside, running around with a hair trimmer.
When you put it like that,
to cut Frank's hair, not in some sort of bizarre horror film. Although you did film one, which I would like to chat about, but maybe not on this pod. So cool. Can I go first with this?
Absolutely. Please tell me about your time away.
Okay, so
I saw some lovely pictures online
thank
and
you.
videos.
Yeah, there was some good stuff. So nature exists more so where we were than where we are at home, and there's just a lot more of it. And so I like I used to go to that part of the country, not quite that far, not quite that far into that, but I was there quite a lot in the big summer holidays because I had family down there. So we would go and kind of beach explore and just be like, which way do you want to go? Left or right? Keep going till you find something else, and make choices, and then learn your public walking footpath stuff, and just know where you can go and what you can't go, and all those types of rules. And I was like, I'm definitely doing some of that because that's just going to be great. I've not had the opportunity to just do that. And I was like, I'm quite happy to do that on my own. And I was like, maybe I think we can walk down and get to the coast, the coast from here. She's like, is it a beach? I was like, I don't think so. I think it's quite a lot of rock and jaggedy stuff, but it'd be a pretty cool walk. She was like, oh, I don't think so. I was like, okay. And I was like, I think there's like a tin mine there. She was like, what? I was like, she was like, all right, maybe we'll come. So we went on this walk pretty much the first day. And I was like, cool, look, I'm going to look on Google Maps, but Google Maps won't tell us about all these public footpaths, okay? Because it just doesn't. And you can have other maps done it, but I was like, we're just going to be off the phone for a bit. We're going to have to work it out ourselves.
Going old school.
Like, yeah, but not in like a old dad way. Like, we're not going to use the phones. I was just like,
Get the
what we're
AA
gonna
books
do is-
out.
yeah. No, we're just going to work it out and judge whether we should go this way or that way based on some signage and our vibes. And I'd kind of looked at like where you could walk down the roads or where the paths lead. And so we did that. And we walked down to an old tin mine. We didn't go quite to the tin mine, but we walked along the paths. And this Coast Explore, Mabel was like going, what's that? Like she hadn't seen certain plants before. There was this particular plant that looked like huge rhubarb. She was like, it's like rhubarb if it was in Willy Wonka's factory. And I was like, right, okay. She was taking photos of it and it was really cool. And she was like, oh, I wanted to stop and taste it. And like, it was great for me because walking for long distances, I'm going to need to take I'm going to take a few breaks. Certainly in the heat that there was. That's fine because every 5 steps, maybe wanted to stop and take photos of like babbling little brooks and like bits of mountain and stuff. And then she was like, "Oh look, we can go down." So then there was this valley, right, which the stream would go down into the thing, and I could see the path that we were on. It was like a road where some cars could drive this one track road and then park, and then you could cross a little bridge at the bottom. I was like, "Well, I'll see that bridge down there. We'll go there. We'll cross, and we'll go up to that big rock, and we'll see where we go from there." And then Mabel said, "Oh look, just come down here, and this is all kind of like overgrown." Like plants up to, I would say, about just over my waist, right? And she's like, look, it says you can go this way. I was just doing what I told her, like past the thing. I was like, look, I'm not sure you can. And she was like, no, it'll be fine. Look, go this way. And I just went,
she's got that into it.
I was like, oh, you can go this way though. She's like, look, come on. If it's bad, we'll go back. I went, yeah, all right. And so we go up this other little path, which has like, I would argue better views than walking down where we walked, and lots of signs that say mine shaft danger, stay to the path, and like that was quite cool for me. So I was like, I think my win is summed up by the thing I said. Oh, do you know what? I said, I think I need to start taking your advice a little bit more because you made an impulsive decision to go. Yeah, it says we can go this way, and it looks pretty cool over there, and it was like arguably more exciting and more of an adventure, whereas like old dad me was like, well, we can safely go down there. And we can
sprinkled a little bit of danger. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So that was just that whole experience with Mabel on those walks was a big win. We had to do some serious traversing of like some paths. We found some mine shafts. Well, you couldn't go down them, but she was like fascinated by it all. She learned a lot about like all the signs and stuff. She stopped and read about tin mines and like Cornwall and stuff, which was really cool, super cool. And And yeah, we just worked it out ourselves, and it was just really nice. And yeah, she just loved being in nature and exploring all of that stuff. It was also amusing because lots of people began that path along where we were going to go from the valley along further to a different bay, and they had like proper walking boots and sticks and stuff. And there we are in our Vans trainers with shorts on, going, should we go this way? Which was funny to us but also like dangerous, because we were like, right, how do you keep yourself safe? And we had some funny stuff about like when the kids were young, I taught them to come down the stairs on their bums, right? When they weren't, right? And we called that a bum scooch. And Mabel brought that phrase back. It was like, oh, it's safe. We can just bum scooch. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you taught me how to bum scooch when I was younger. We can just bum scooch if it gets dangerous. I was like, fine. She was like, also, you say when we're walking on the beach, don't step on don't step on the green bits because they're slippery. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, won't we step on any green? I was like, okay, fine. She was like, this is like survival 101. She was like, we should make videos about it. And I was like, I think people have got this covered with probably a bit more detail. But yeah, so that was amusing, and we had a bit of quite the laugh. And yeah, and the other thing is that, like, just again, them going swimming in the sea on that kind of first day was just like, they are pretty comfortable doing this, both of them. Oscar and Mabel were just like, yeah, it's fine, we'll do that. We're not really inhibited by like looking at a lot of people that are looking at us or doing whatever. And Oscar found that cold water quite overwhelming, and so was making some like vocal shrieks to cope with that, which we didn't care about. And seemingly Oscar didn't care if other people were looking. We didn't even focus on anyone else. Just had a nice time there. It's another one of those things. My third little final win was that in a different environment with different people around, table dinner is the easiest thing in the world.
No way.
Yeah, 5 consistent nights of table dinner.
That's brilliant.
Now, like, did they do the whole stay until everyone's finished? No, but they came down, they involved themselves in conversation. They were there. They were happy. They needed to be reminded. They needed 2 nudges to do it. So we had table dinner the whole time. Which was great. Because I was very determined, and Laura and I were very determined. Like, if it was a hard no, then we were like, fine, they don't do it. We don't do it at home. So why are we going to change it? So they just kind of fell into it. And I think that's because they enjoy being with their cousins, they enjoy being with other people, and it's holiday, so different.
That's part of the experience as opposed to like a daily routine.
Exactly.
I like it. Yeah, it's really good.
And the pressure was off a little bit for them. So yeah, I super enjoyed it, and they dealt with 2 10-hour car journeys really well, like super well. I think the biggest challenge on the journeys really was service stations. Those places can be really kind of chaotic and have a lot of stress energy, particularly when you're dealing with toilet experiences, like sometimes queuing and that type of thing, and the complicated disabled toilet queue thing. Sometimes you have to go somewhere else to get the key, but Oscar chose most times to go to the disabled toilet. That was fine. They were comfortable with that. So yeah, I mean, we got stuck in traffic. They weren't too super stressed about it. We worked it out, and we did it. Yeah, so nice big wins. So the coastal exploring, and just generally just being around them in a different experience, in a different location was a lovely time had by all, I think. What were your wins of the week, my friend?
Yeah, that sounds amazing, mate. A couple of little wins in between the sort of cranky heat attacks, we'll call them.
Well, some hair cutting, which is always a little win.
Yeah, being able, I put it in the win column that I achieved something despite the heat and the circumstances. And again, just the way the schedule of the week went, it was really going to be this weekend was the time. And after a busy week, my expectations were low. I managed to do more than I thought. Always could want to do a bit more. But yeah, so haircutting was actually quite a win, to be fair. Last week, Frankie started. Frankie said what did he say? He said, "Oh my god," whilst laughing with Amy at like 3 a.m. That was his. Yeah, that was last week's win. So,
I haven't. I haven't listened.
well, there you go. So that's a spoiler.
Hang on,
that's another 3-word phrase. Yeah. When you
I was
listen,
going to say 3-word phrase.
I've left you instructions. When you listen back, you'll hear what I said because I've got a task for you with those words. So we've also had another one this week. So this is quite good. He has quite clearly said the word up a few times, which is why it was one of my 3 words. Usually,
is he trying to direct you where to cut their hair? Was it?
Usually it's you're sitting down, get up, we're going to bounce. So I'll be like, say up, and he'll be like, up. But he has also been really trying to articulate other things, and he's just doing really wide mouth movements. So for those of you watching on YouTube, I'll try and demonstrate, but he's doing a lot of like trying to.
Please.
And I think that's partly he's hot. He's trying to communicate. He's trying to escalate the communication because he's like, I can't be bothered with a long drawn out thing. So definitely heard up a few times. And I'll be like, you say up and I'll jump. I'll be like, I'll jump up if you say up. So that's nice. Just seems to be in saying four new words in the last 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
And just a couple of like other sort of communication things really. It's mostly around communication, and although it has been challenging because of the heat, just spending time together has just been nice. And Amy's been off this week. Normally Amy isn't off on half terms. So it's just nice to have had that, although it's been hot. And we kind of dialed down plans to try and cope with heat, because I don't think if we'd have gone out every day or every other day, it would have quite worked. So I think his clubs were enough.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, things just like his understanding of language and us. So it'll be like, oh, will you go get? And we're saying different words that we wouldn't normally do, and he's sort of comprehending them and going off to do things. And he's starting to.
It's lovely.
He's just continuing to be a helpful chap. So things like just before we come on to record today, we had bath, because we've moved baths a bit earlier because it's so hot and we want to get him chilled to bed. He got himself I had to take his top off. He walked straight up to me he puts his arms up so I take his top off, but he can undress the rest of him. He went and put his nappy in the nappy bin, because Frankie still wears nappies. And I was just like, things like that. Like, he's starting to do these more like, it's all right, Dad, I'll tidy up, I'll help you. Me and Amy like the comedian Mickey Flanagan, so he says a thing like, I'll shut that door for you, Sylvie. So I joke with her, I'll be like, oh, I've done that for you, Sylvie. Frank kind of just does it with a little air and grace of like he is saying those words out loud, but obviously he's not. So he just looks at me like, I've got this covered, Dad. So yeah, like throwing balls over the garden, catching spiders, putting things back, putting toys back, tidying things, shutting doors. We just seem to be able to connect that a little bit better.
Evidence of learning and making needs met is always a big win.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, so mate. I'm pleased.
Just nice, and probably well placed as well because of the heat. Obviously, things can, with him being short, just him being able to understand. And I'm like, give Daddy 5, and then we jump again, because Frankie only wants to bounce when the sun is out as well. When the shade was in, he's like, no, But as soon as the sun comes out, we bounced. So I was able to communicate a bit easier with him. Daddy just needs a rest.
I like that.
Then we bounce.
So it's a nice when then, but with a counter. So when he comes back, you can then go.
I think I'm actually going to start doing timers now, like set alarms and go, we bounce for 10. And then when the alarm goes off, and try and maybe just do things like
that's interesting.
Because then I'm not having him on. I'm like, you can have the full 10. Dad just needs 5 off.
Depends on the kid. With time at Oscar, it was awful.
Oh, okay.
We pushed ahead with it for a long time, and they would get super stressed at the end of it. So that's why
they could see it counting down.
It was big anxiety. Or like it went off out of nowhere, and they didn't want to stop right then. They wanted to know when they could slow down. That doesn't mean that the times are wrong. It just means for us it wasn't. That's why we moved it to or just removed that stress of it, and we're like, when I come back, then I'll do this, or when. So yeah, I'll be interested to know how that goes for Frank, because I think he kind of responds quite well to like your like 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Literally what you said there is I was like, the only downside of that would be he just like, but yes, we will try. But I was doing a lot with his hair. I was like, when you let me do your hair, then we can go in the garden. So it was kind of like the back door's locked. He put his sandals on all by himself this morning, like just to show how much he wanted to go. I'm like, when we do some hair, then we can go out. And he looked at me and just put his sandals on, and I'm like, so you can put your sandals on. I don't have to put your sandals on every day now. Is that what you're telling me? Like, because you want to go in the garden, you can.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay. So
yes, the object has a purpose, and now I will put it on because it has a purpose.
But yeah, so
that's great.
I did.
How just on the when then things? How have the social stories been going? Like you don't have a clipper and a trampoline yet, so not be going that well.
No, we don't. So we are still using them we haven't added too many more. We've added a couple of activities, but we haven't done them yet to actually show him. But so stuff like his club, the gym, and when certain people that we have pictures of that we see frequently enough to come around.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely is engaging more with that. So we are gonna add to that. So I think we've got a couple of the other activities, and we've got more. We've asked other people for photos, so and also individual photos. So like we got family photos of people, but sometimes you're only seeing like the one person. So I feel like we need to go down that level of granular detail because I think that really helps him.
Yeah, for big changes in the day, because I think it depends on who everyone is, and every family is really different. But to get to the granular detail of
this one person,
breakfast,
yes,
hair trimmer,
yes,
trampoline, lunch. Personally, for me, I would find that exhausting. But obviously, you use it for the challenges that are the biggest, and I know that's like transitions and seeing new people in new places. So yeah, that sounds right.
I did do an example just before on the Friday, so last week before they went away for the weekend, so I could shoot the film. I did an example of this, which is why I think it'll work. So usually the family that they went to stay with, we have a group photo, and it's always out on the side. And I was like, I can't show them the photo. So on my phone, because you can save photos of people in your contacts, can't you? I literally just got their contact up and went, and then put that next to the picture of Amy's work, which is one of his things. I said, they're coming to pick you up, take you to mummy, and then you go to their house. And he was eating his dinner, and he just kind of looked at me, nodded, and then carried on eating his dinner. And I was like, did that work? As soon as he saw their Kive on the drive, ran and got his shoes, come back, and so it went in.
And no spirals or breakdowns or meltdowns in those transitions, right?
He climbed straight in the car. I went to lean in and give him a kiss and say have fun, and he just like face palmed me and went, I know what I'm doing. Crack on. I was like, all right,
excellent. Yeah, lovely.
So yeah, they're my wins. Communication wins.
Nice. Cool. Well, let's have a think about what's coming up for us and whether we're going to be able to have more wins than challenges, although that's not necessarily the game, in our best named bit of the podcast, Look Ahead to the Week Ahead. It's Look Ahead to the Week Ahead. Back to school again for the final time this year.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
So
the final 6 weeks.
Yes.
Gosh, that's going to go fast. Okay. So
don't speak too soon. I think it depends if you work in it or not, Dan.
That is true.
I'm kidding. I am kidding. It's fine.
June is absolutely off the hook for us. We have like 15 birthdays, multiple wedding anniversaries, and we've got a couple of christenings chucked in. And we start off with birthday week, which is Tuesday through Friday is a different birthday for a different member of Amy's family, including Amy. So we'll be spending the day. She's moved her day off to her birthday, so we can hang out and do some stuff and be back for the school run. So there'll be a lot of cake, which will make Frank very happy. So he'll probably be having cake Tuesday through Sunday next week because of
God, cake! That's what I'm wanting, Frankie. Oh
Yeah.
my God, cake. 4-word sentence, please. Let's go.
Yep. We know it's in the arsenal, Frank. We can
do,
pull those
we
out,
do.
hopefully. So yeah, basically just a lot of birthdays and a lot of cake for us next week.
Uh-huh.
And maybe some Senjin before one of the parties on Saturday, before the party on Saturday. But we will see.
Skipping over a first week of school. What a nice thing to be thinking. School's not even on the radar, Dan.
He's going to be having double cake because he has cake every day at school as well. So yeah, Frank's going to have to do some bouncing to burn off the extra calories.
That's fine. It's fine.
I don't think he'll mind.
Cool. For us, it's back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then not that much. Not that much.
Yet.
Yes. Yet. Obviously the main thing is we'll go into the week aiming for a full attended week, and we will try to make that transition, and that's it really. It's quite boring, but we're trying to just keep the pressure off and hopefully build to positive 6 weeks. Yeah, some stuff coming up in terms of school. Maybe we'll have some mock exams. Oscar's options will be finalized. Some work experience from Mabel, but ultimately nothing huge in this first week of the calendar.
Yeah, just want a nice foundation.
I don't think he's going to be as hot, so that will help matters a little bit where we are. And then then we'll see you on Sunday and see what occurs. But yeah, certainly June doesn't look as packed in my diary as it looks in yours, although there are quite the number of football games to be looking at, which is good.
For our next upcoming pod. No, joking. Football does seep into occasionally, and films seep into podcasts occasionally.
Yeah, how can we hook it in? Who's had a challenging week and who's had a winning week in the International Football World Cup? Okay. Nice. Okay, fantastic. Right, well, thank you very much for rejoining us. We hope that listening to this podcast gives you a little bit of clarity, maybe a little bit of diversion from the things that you are doing in your day, or maybe you just kind of stick us on to help get through your day. But we are super, super happy that we get to talk about this and then send it out to you. That's lovely. Thank you for listening and watching. Just leaves me to throw to Dan, who's had a week off of saying this, as I understand it. Can you do it as good as your lovely wife, Amy? Please tell them the 3 things they need to remember.
So, 3 things we always want you to remember. You're doing great. You are enough. And you're certainly not alone. I think I did it. There was a lot of pressure.
You did.
There.
Well done.
There was a lot of pressure.
I didn't mean to ramp it up. Right. Have lovely weeks, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Good energy. That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at neurodadverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.